Aye. Those against it say nay. The ayes have it.
Mr. Speaker, sir.
The bill is recommitted to the committee of the whole. Honorable colleagues, we just observe some few minutes.
ABC.
Is the APC truly afraid of electronic transmission of results during elections? Or is this just a cry of a wounded opposition? That is the question echoing through Nigeria's political corridors at the moment. When Nigerians queued under the sun in 2023, many believed technology would be the great equalizer. The promise was simple: results will move straight from the polling units to the server, untouched, unaltered, and undeniable. Then came the delays, the glitches, the silence, and suddenly suspicion filled the air. Opposition figures like Peter Obi and Atiku Abubakar cried foul. They argued that real-time electronic transmission would have sealed the process against any doubt. They took their battle to the court. On the other side stood Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the APC, firm and deviant. They insisted the election followed the law. They reminded Nigerians that the court upheld the victory. They argued that technology can fail, that networks can collapse, that elections cannot be left at the mercy of unstable connectivity. But here is where the drama thickens. If electronic transmission strengthens transparency, if it reduces human interference, if it builds public trust, then why does hesitation, even caution, feel like resistance? If the APC says it has delivered for Nigerians, then the political questions many critics ask is simple. If you are confident in your performance, why not welcome total transparency in the electoral processes? If you are truly popular, if you control over 24 states, if you command governors, lawmakers, and structures from north to south, then why fear the light? That is the question most Nigerians hurl at the APC, a party that says it is rooted in every ward, every local government, every state, a party that celebrates nationwide dominance should in theory welcome the cold, sharp clarity of electronic transmission. Because electronic transmission is not an enemy of victory, it is a shield for it. Upload the result instantly, lock it in at the polling unit, let the numbers speak before whispers begin. More so, the argument by the All Progressive Congress APC that electronic transmission of results cannot work because rural areas lack network simply does not hold water. They claim many villages have no connectivity, but how then do these same villages use POS machine daily for withdrawals and transfers? How do they register for NIN under the nationwide scheme of the National Identity Management Commission (NIMC)? How do they receive trader money and other conditional cash transfer initiated under the federal government of Nigeria? If network infrastructure is strong enough for financial transactions, biometric registrations, bank alerts, BVN verification, and government social intervention payment, why should it suddenly become unreliable only when it is time to transmit election results? Even more striking is this contradiction. The APC often boasts of expanding infrastructure across Nigeria like roads, rail, digital economy, broadband penetration. The administration frequently references the work of the Federal Ministry of Communications and Digital Economy in increasing broadband coverage nationwide. If broadband penetration has increased significantly, as officially claimed, then the excuse of no network in rural areas weaken further. Electronic transmission does not even require permanent, uninterrupted 5G level connectivity. Results can be uploaded where signal exists, stored offline, and transmitted once connectivity is restored. Exactly how POS systems function in semi-urban cities. So the question many Nigerians ask is simple. If villagers can register for NIN, receive government payments, use POS and conduct digital banking, why can't election results be transmitted electronically from those same communities? The infrastructure argument collapses under its own weight when measured against every reality. The APC currently controls the presidency, holds majority influence in both chambers of the National Assembly, governs the majority of states through its governors, and presides over the country's security structure at the federal level. Given that level of political dominance, Nigerians argue that resistance to live electronic transmission of election results appears contradictory. If a party controls the executive arm, has strong representation in the legislature, oversees national security institutions, claims nationwide grassroots structures, asserts widespread popularity, then logically electronic transmission of results should strengthen, not weaken its position, because transparency tends to validate genuine support. Supporters of electronic transmission argue that it enhances credibility, reduces disputes, and builds public trust in the democratic process. The core of this debate is less about technology and more about confidence in the electoral system. In any democracy, the more power a ruling party holds, the higher the public expectation for transparency. When a dominant party appears cautious about transparency measures, it naturally fuels suspicions, whether justified or not. Ultimately, the issue many Nigerians raise is this: if a party is confident in its popularity and institutional control, why resist a system that could publicly validate that strength in real time? Let's take a listen to what former INEC chairman Professor Mahmood Yakub has to say about live electronic transmission of results.
The pilot that we have conducted, and we're reasonably confident in the strength of the processes.
I mean, even in rural areas.
The machine on election day doesn't rely on the internet to accredit voters. It works offline. Now, when it comes to transmission of results, that's where you need network. But if there is no network in the immediate vicinity, the scanned image of the polling unit level results, which is taken using the beavers, will be transmitted as soon as the staff move from the polling units to the collation centers. And we have been working with the major telecom companies in Nigeria, and we are satisfied that the number of blind spots can be addressed in the country, and the number of blind spots where you have no network is really.
So with all this take from the former INEC chairman Professor Yakubu, what stops Nigeria from transmitting results live to the IREF, if not that the political party APC is trying to rig the election in their favor? Let's also take a listen to a former top INEC rep who was part of restructuring INEC to what it is today. He worked for INEC for 10 good years. Let's take a listen to his opinion about this electronic transmission of results.
Issue of transmission of results. Let me state this emphatically. That in 2021, the Independent National Electoral Commission, where I served for 10 years, that I consider as wasted years of my own legal practice, the Commission issued a comprehensive statement Just as what is going on today, this debate. INEC is absent in this debate. INEC is isolated. It is INEC that conducts election. Whether there is capacity, whether INEC is ready, whether there are infrastructure to support e-transmission, the Commission is expected to speak. And indeed, INEC has spoken before. This is not a first